Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth and Joanne with World's Cup of Joe, Awaken Your Soul. If you're new to our channel, welcome. This is your home for balanced energy in your twin flame connection. We are here to guide you and teach you everything we know that has got us through our dark night, our separation, and has brought our twin flames back in where we could both be in permanent relating experiences with them. So we want to guide you as well on how to master this energy. So today's topic, Joanne asked me this morning, how specifically did you stop your biggest leak, which was Twitter? Twitter was my biggest leak. It was the thing that spiked my energy more than anything. And I think one of the reasons why is because I met my person on Twitter. And we started talking back and forth. And I fell in love, like crazy love. You guys know the deal. And I think part of the mind was always fearful that if he could meet me, he could meet someone else. So it got very, very addicted to stalking his Twitter account. I was very, very jealous. And my energy would just go crazy looking at Twitter. I could see, even if I wasn't looking at his account, I would see a profile and I would the mind would automatically start picturing him being attracted to that woman. Like, even if he didn't even follow her, didn't know who she was, my mind went crazy with Twitter. So Joanna had asked, how did I finally get rid of that leak? So here's the real deal. Here's how I got rid of it. So we are in separation, right? And my person, right before he moved out, had stopped Twitter because he said he got kicked out and he wasn't going to create a new account. He told me specifically, when I'm done with Twitter, I got kicked off. I don't even want to create a new account. So he moved out. We went through separation and my mind was like nagging at me, like, I know he's still on Twitter. I know he created a new account. So this is how bad my addictive energy was. I literally went and chose an author, a historical author that I knew he followed. And this author had, 5,000 people that followed him. I started scrolling through all 5,000 of that author's followers to see if I could find my person with the new profile and a new account. And lo and behold, after stalking that, I found my person. He used the same profile picture, but he changed his name up. And I went in and I tried to follow him. And as soon as I clicked on follow, it said, you're blocked by this person. And it was like I had been kicked in the stomach. Like, holy smokes, he already blocked me before I could even follow him. Like, he already had this pre-planned. And it was such a sickening feeling. My addictive energy felt so gross at that moment. And it was at that moment, I was like, no more. I deleted Twitter off my account. Hold on, let me back step a minute. First, with the addictive energy soaring, I texted my person something along the lines of, and I used a lot of explicit, like, you're an a-hole. How dare you block me? I see what you did. I effing hate you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like spewing all this toxic energy at him. And he called me back and he was like, why would I allow you to stalk me anymore on Twitter? That's why I blocked you, because I'm tired of having someone read every single thing that I write and judge me and like attack me for it. And I was like, oh my God. Like I said, I felt so sick to my stomach at that moment. And the next day I was like, I'm done with Twitter. I deleted it and I never went back. I never went back to putting the app on my phone. I will go on Twitter now. Like I've said many times, my person will send me Twitter messages all day long when I'm in Seoul. And I will go on and see what he has sent me, but I will never look at his account ever. It's like it'll never happen. And I will never go back to that. I choose my peace. And I realized how much Twitter put me in mind. And it was at that moment, that next day, after I had realized how gross I felt, that I didn't want that anymore. Later, it was so funny. When I was starting to balance and back in, he made a comment like, hey, did you see that thing I sent you on Twitter? And I was like, well, no, I didn't even ask him about it. I was like, no, I couldn't see it because you have me blocked. And he was like, oh, crap, I forgot. Let me unblock you. I don't care. You can follow me. It doesn't matter. And I was like, no, that's okay. You don't need to unblock me. That's what I told him. You don't need to unblock me, because honestly, at that point, I was so surrendered. I didn't care. I didn't care if he ever added me again. I didn't care if I ever looked. I was surrendered to that leak. And lo and behold, it was like, he wanted to have me follow him. He wanted me to see, and I didn't ever follow him again. I will, like I said, I will read the stuff he sends me, but I will never go back down that rabbit hole. That was my biggest, grossest leak. And for all of you that are out there, you know what this leak is for you, because every time you see it, feel it, think about it, that energy spikes and it makes you feel not only crazy, but really, really gross. It's a really gross, addictive energy is really gross. That's the best way I can explain it. So that's how I closed that final leak. It wasn't like I was just like one day, hey, I'm going to close this. No, it was like I needed a kick in the gut. And that's what that was. When I found out that he blocked me before I had even found him, like he knew me so well that he knew I would stalk him and find him somehow, some way. And he was right. And I did. And it was a kick in the gut that I needed to realize that I'm in really gross addictive energy and I never want to be like this again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was so funny. And this morning we were talking, I'm like, how did you know that it was time to let it go? And I was telling Elizabeth jokingly, like, I think for me, I knew I had to let go of, because I was watching him in social media, and you guys all know I have that famous tracker on our cars. And so I like slightly said, I haven't really been like a stalky type. Like me and Elizabeth were laughing. I mentioned that car app. So anyway, the moment that I knew that it was also time for me to let go of the leak was when, and for those that have our members only, they'll know, like, it was the same gut punch that Elizabeth had. There was a moment where I saw my person posting after he stopped watching my stories, looking really happy. And it was like, boom, it was enough. It was this lightning bolt inside me that just was like, what the F are you doing? You're revolving your life around this person. And it was like this vision that I had in my head where it was like, you're the one watching him, his every move, his every post, and no one is watching you. Like it was just a reverse flip, like a mirror. It showed me what I was doing. If you're so consumed on your person's going to be so consumed on anything else but you. And it wasn't until both of us had that gut punch that made us realize.
Wait, Joanne, explain to them my best friend's wedding, because I think that was a really crucial part of what you were telling earlier.
It was.
Yeah.
So I had this like aha moment where I was like, no one is following you. No one is running after you. And so for those that know Julia Roberts, My Best Friend Wedding, there's a scene in there, and it's one of my favorite movies. But there's a scene in there where Julia Roberts is running after her guy who is running after his bride. And she's on the phone with someone that like said, hey, what's going on? It's being crazy right now. And she's like, well, he's following her and I'm running after him. And they were like, well, who's running after you? Who's running after you? And it was like this moment where Julia Roberts was like, no one's running after me. And it was like, the race is over. Like, stop chasing. Stop putting on these shoes and chasing when no one is behind you running after you. And that's where it came to me, where I saw like I was stalking all his stuff. He wasn't looking at my stuff. And it was like, I'm posting all these cute things and no one's looking at you. No one's running after you. Stop running to them when they're not running after you. It's literally like a huge repellent. And so that's what came to me at that moment, where it was like, who's looking at you? No one. No one's looking at you. And I completely shifted from there. I've never been able to go back ever again to get to a place where I want to look at him and only him. I don't ever want to just look at him, because if I'm only looking at him, I'm not looking at me. And when I'm not looking at me, he can't look at me. The mirror is about you guys, loves. Because there's a comment on our YouTube recently where it was like, if I ignore them, then they'll ignore me. No. The mirror is a reflection of how you're being with you. Remember, this is your soul. How you are being with your soul is based on how you're being with you as soul, your soul, you. So if you're giving all the energy externally to your person, they have to give that energy externally to everyone else. But if you're giving all your energy to yourself, you've literally flipped the switch to where all they can see is you. The mirror that they're reflecting to you is how you are being with yourself. That's the mirror. And that's the shift. And I think we all have to have this breaking point, that gut punch of like, you're being in addictive energy, cray addictive energy. And we all act out of the norm. Totally not normal for Elizabeth to go through 1,000 people to look for her person to see if he created another account. That's not normal. Totally out of the normal for me to use this system on my app that tells me when to get an oil change just to see if my person was going to come home or if he was going to make a stop somewhere else. And that was the exact reason why he never came home. Who would want to come home to somebody who's watching the heck out of them? Who would want to have someone be on their friends list when they're watching every freaking thing they're doing like a hawk? It's this energy. And I was telling Elizabeth, I didn't know that I was in addictive energy. And then I corrected myself and said, no, I'm sure I knew I was in addictive energy. I just didn't recognize that that was addictive energy at that time. We all don't know what it feels until we know how to turn it off. Once you learn how to detox from the addictive energy, you're going to feel it in your body. You're going to feel it in your like chest and your lower chakra. It's going to bubble up and you're going to be like, And the energy of love, it's the complete opposite. The energy of being, the energy of soul, it's like flowy, right? It's soulful. But the energy of push, the energy of leak, the energy of trying to be the masculine instead of the feminine, right? Being in the logical side, when we're in the flow state of being and trusting and in the higher scale, because that's totally the lower scale. One of the reasons why I was looking to love was because I was jealous of his time and his energy. Like I was jealous of why he wasn't wanting to come home. I was jealous of like what he was doing at the gym. And if he'd meet anybody at the gym, it's all the same thing. He's at the restaurant with this made up person in my head. It's all the same fear, and it's that lower scale of energy. And I think I mentioned it to him recently. Me and my person are in a very like peaceful, cohesive connection. Like our union, my goodness, my loves, when you're in union, when you're in permanent relating experience with your person, and there is no more running and pushing, running and pulling, and it's just being, it just really feels so much at ease. And I don't give an F. And I told him, you know, I think I was like touching his hair. You guys know me. I'm present with my person by my senses. So I touch his hair. I look at his hair. I even look at like the whites in his beard because he's getting older. And I use that as my present moment, right? This is like what Eckhart Tolle said. You can't be in mind and soul at the same time in Eckhart Tolle terms. I'm sure he's saying it in present moment. But you cannot be in your mind if you're present. It's one or the other, right? And so when I was talking to my person, I'm like putting my hand on his beard, very present. I said, you know how many times I've worried about you with other people, like in my head? I made up all these stories in my head of how you'll meet someone and you'd leave me and they're so much more amazing and so much more beautiful and all that crap. And I said, I said this in the car all loud. I said, I don't give an F about that crap anymore. I was like, good the F luck. No one's ever gonna be like me. No one's gonna be me. I was like, good luck. No one's gonna make you feel this love, this soulful energy from me. No one's ever gonna make you feel the way I make you feel, because no one knows your soul like I know your soul, because no one has your soul. It's that deep. It was that deep. I said, no one's gonna be like me. And he's like nodding like, yep. Yeah, like agreeing with me. But that's how confident I am now. When you start to be in your power, my loves, when you stop trying to control your connection through mind, through trying to figure out every possible app and ways to touch your person through mind, and when you start being in trusting your soul, your person doesn't want to be anywhere away from you. No app in between, literally. They will be in front of you, not through an app that you're trying to cling on to. And both of us had to delete and remove these apps entirely on our phones so that our person can find us in the physical. Because we had to release these leaks that were keeping us, strangling our person away from us. And once we removed them, they were able to find us. And you guys know that when you remove your leaks, your soul finds you. We just gave you guys an example last week. A beautiful soul completely deleted her person everywhere. And she gets a message somewhere else and was like, hey, can you unblock me now? I've been trying to get to you. I love you. There's never been anyone else other than you. Bam! That's this journey, my love. Release the leak. Remove all the leaks, my love. And let your soul find you so they can be with you in the physical. We love you all so much. We hope you have an amazing day. Bye, love.
Bye, love.